that, pretty much all they sold was the whole life type of policies. Then the insurance industry went through a change, and people realized, wait a minute, let's come up with a product where if it's just dirt cheap insurance and people could invest the difference, they'd be better off. And that worked for a number of years. Then in the late 1970s and early 80s, the insurance industry woke up and they said, you know what, we're losing a lot of business because people are just buying this dirt cheap term insurance, and we really want them to buy this little bit more permanent policy, because otherwise people just keep jumping around from insurance company to insurance company, right? So they came up with this thing called universal life, which meant that again, people would give the insurance company more money, and you're right, they would, back then they were paying as high as 12% interest, and it was tax deferred. But nowadays with interest rates low, the interest rates have dropped substantially. Now, policies I sold people back in the early 1980s had a guaranteed minimum of 5.5%. So they were earning 12 for a long time, and then it dropped to 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and now they're still earning 5.5%,
right?
which is pretty good.
That sounds great
in
in this market.
Yeah. It does. But again, I'm not trying to push people to buy one versus another, because what ends up happening is that there's a lot of costs that come out of those policies
up front.
That's right. And so you really do have to look at the difference between, gosh, should I just buy term insurance and invest the difference? And I'll make it really simple for everyone here. The IRS has something called, or it's Congress basically, but it's called a modified endowment contract. And what that means is the IRS basically says, you know what, you can throw all of this money into into insurance and build up as much cash value as you want, tax deferred. However, wait a minute, this is too good a deal, right? Because think about it. Let's say you had a $100,000 policy, and let's say you could invest $90,000 in it and earn 3 or 4 or 5% tax free. Right. That's a pretty good deal. Plus, you still have this insurance. Right, because you can buy the kind of insurance where they add the cash value to the 100,000.
So you
might get 190
yeah.
Exactly. Or there's different ways to do it. You could do it where you just get 100. Well, the IRS said, wait a minute, that's too good a deal. So they actually limit it and say, based on your age, how much you're going to be putting in, and for how long a period, if you put in too much money and it builds up it'll build up tax deferred. And if you take money out, then you'd have to start paying taxes and possibly a penalty if you're under 59 and a half. So what the object in that case for people who have the money, have a long-term need, and can they can afford it, is to potentially buy those universal policies and just figure out what's the maximum the IRS will allow me to put in, and go ahead and go that route. But again, they're very expensive. So what I've done is I've gotten a lot of clients into just the dirt cheap term policy, because nowadays people have a hard time coming up with money for their food, let alone their life insurance.
Right. Are these universal lives with I know that a lot of people were buying them for like annuity purposes, where
Correct.
you would invest in a universal life and you would put a certain amount of money into it with the idea that after 20 years you'd be able to collect a monthly annuity. Is that still a popular product today?
It is. Yeah. If you've got the money, you could kind of kill two birds with one stone, right? Because what you would do is throw, let's say, $10,000 a year in for 20 years, build up enough cash value to where you could start drawing an annuity tax-free. And oh, by the way, if you die, your beneficiary would get the death benefit. It might be $1 million. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. So what one would do in that analysis is, am I better off to just buy a dirt cheap term insurance policy for $300 a year for 20 years and invest $9,700 in some other investment?
In the annuities, right?
In an annuity or something else, exactly. And when we come back from break, I've got a few more little secret tidbits to share with the listeners. So we're going to cut to our first commercial break here. And here is the question. And again, we're talking about trivia theme is unusual sports stories. All right, here we go. In the 2002 World Series, what San Francisco Giant picked up Dusty Baker's son who wandered near home plate? The first 3 callers with the correct answer win a free 3-day, 2-night stay at the Lighthouse Resort. Their website is lighthouse4fun.com. Call 888 888-912-1190. That's 888-912-1190 to answer this question. In the 2002 World Series, what San Francisco Giant picked up Dusty Baker's son who wandered near home plate? 888-912-1190. Make sure to include your name, address, email address, and phone number, and please spell it out and speak slowly for us. And we will be right back. Okay, don't forget.
Oh, God. What do we got this time?
What we got this time? Can you see it?
You will never have a bad hair day.
Thank you.
We're doing a dual camera setup here, Frank?
Yeah, he's doing it.
Wow, we're
Pull
really,
the back of your hair.
we're really getting somewhere, aren't we, here? Specifically.
You guys ready?
Great to me. Yes.
All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf and Brian Burke. And when we cut to the first commercial break, we asked this trivia question, and the theme is unusual sports stories. In the 2002 World Series, what San Francisco Giant picked up Dusty Baker's son who wandered near home plate? Brian, you're shaking your head. What's the answer?
I have no idea. My guess was Joe Montana.
Joe Montana.
I don't know anything about sports.
That is incorrect.
All right.
Mark, what's the answer?
I don't know. It wasn't Barry Bonds, was it?
It wasn't Barry Bonds. It was J.T. Snow.
Oh,
yeah. Remember him? Okay.
See, why didn't you think of that?
Okay, and we are in the studio with me. Because I'm the life insurance expert.
With Edward Brown.
Yes, there you go. We're going to try to educate the public, as they say. So, Mark, you're going to ask me a question
Sure.
about insurance company.
Bigger insurance companies versus smaller insurance companies, does it really matter which one I go with?
Generally, it does, and I'll tell you, this is going to be kind of cool. All right, ready for this? Generally speaking, this is just a general rule. The bigger the insurance company, the worse they are. And the reason
At
is
what?
At giving the best price.
Oh.
Okay, and here's the reason. When you're a huge insurance company, you don't generally have to be competitive because everyone's scared. They think, oh my gosh, I can't go with
You're a market
ABC
leader.
company. I've never heard of ABC company.
That was my question is, will the smaller ones not be able to pay?
Okay,
So-
and get this. And again, this is kind of cool. Audience, listen in very carefully here. Except for the cases of like fraud, where you get some insurance company called Dewey, Cheatham and Howe or something like that, right?
That's a law firm, I think.
That's true. Well, that's true. First of all, there's maybe 2,000 insurance companies out there.
Really?
And there's a myriad of insurance companies you've never heard of, and they're perfectly fine. They've been around for 20, 50, 150 years, okay? So get this. There has never been a situation where a life insurance policyholder beneficiary did not get paid.
Really?
Now,
Never?
Never. And now, again, forgetting fraud for just a minute, okay? Because if someone wants to fraud you, that's one thing. But we're talking about insurance companies that have been around. And here's what happens is that if an insurance company gets into trouble, another insurance company comes in and buys out the business. So potentially stockholders, bondholders, and annuity holders can potentially get hurt because an annuity is an investment.
Right.
But a life insurance policy is totally different. So if you are, if somebody, some agent shows you a company you never heard of, don't be scared. Okay, but you really do have to compare the prices. That's really what it comes down to, is the prices. And I wanted to get into this also with the bigger insurance company. And you were saying at break how you kept getting churned from one company to another, potentially because of we got the greatest, biggest, newest
Right, here's
one
a
out
new
there.
policy that pays out even better, but we have to convert your old policy to a new one, which just ate up the little bit of cash value that I had created over the previous year.
Potentially, there could have been some legitimate reasons, but in a lot of cases, and this may or may not be the agent knowing this, that there are, even within the same company, there may be policies A, B, C, and D, but A pays the biggest commission. And so a lot of times the agents are concentrating on the commission, and what ends up happening is it just comes out of your pocket. So, personally, and this is a little plug for me, okay, I'll be honest, I'm doing that for me, is when I look at the insurance companies that I deal with, 100 different companies out there, right? And I will just get the dirt cheapest life insurance premium for my clients, and I'll make sure that they're at least rated, A minus, let's say. I never even ask them what the commission is. Whatever it is. I just want to get the client the best, cheapest, dirt cheap life insurance premium with a company that's at least going to be around to pay them, right? and I never get backdoored by another agent. And in fact, I get to one really funny story here. A large insurance company that will be unnamed, actually, their agent had bought a life insurance policy from me because I could sell them a cheaper policy than they could buy from their own company.
Really?
Which gets to the part about captive agents versus independent agents.
Right.
Because there are some insurance companies where you're considered a, quote, captive agent.
Right,
which-
you're representing one company.
That's right,
Yeah.
exactly. You never want to deal with that kind of insurance agent. You always want to deal with someone who's completely independent, because you got to figure, if there's 2,000 insurance companies out there, what are the odds that that one company they represent is going to be
that's gonna be the best one.
Yeah. And then the problem from an agent standpoint is the more business they do with that company, the more held on to they are by them, because if they leave, all those commissions that they could potentially earn when they retire are gone. So you definitely want to deal with someone who's completely independent. And in fact, that's one of the things that I was going to offer to people here, is that if they wanted to find out, with their own insurance policy, how they're doing, or if they wanted to just get a free quote from me, you can actually leave your name and number on our 888 number, which is 888-912-1190. And yes, it is the same one as the trivia contest, because I'm the one who gets the phone call.
Maybe they can win the contest and get a better
That's
life
right.
insurance
Oh, yeah.
policy.
That
All in the
Sounds like
same
you're
fall.
Absolutely.
offering a free insurance audit for our listeners.
Basically that's what it is. Yeah, it's obviously no cost or obligation. They just give a call and just say life insurance, and then leave their phone number. I'll call them back, and we'll just talk about it. And they'll say, okay, how old are you? And here's the other thing, is that there's not a one-stop shop insurance company. I mean, I've had situations where I've had clients who had health issues. Maybe they had a heart attack 3 years ago. Well, that totally wipes out a whole myriad of insurance companies, because they don't want to deal with that. Other ones are experts with regard to cancer. Other ones are smoker versus non-smoker. So what I wind up doing is, because I deal with a company, an independent company that just totally runs all the numbers and all the insurance companies, and I give the information to them. It's really simple. I just say, okay, Mrs. Jones is 62 years old, and she's looking for, let's give her a quote for a 5, 10, 15, and 20-year term policy, because she doesn't want to buy one of those universal ones, and she's been a smoker for 20 years. So they'll run the numbers and go, okay, well, these companies are way out there, forget that, and these other ones would be better.
That's interesting. So if you're doing an evaluation like that, is there a difference between term policies? Is one term policy any different than the other than the amount of years that you have a level premium?
No, that's the other beauty of this thing. Either you're dead or you're not dead, right? Because term policies is really simple. It's money that you spend for insurance. It's not complicated.
Yeah, right? It seems so simple.
It really is, and again, that's why I really like this part of the business, because again, either you're dead or you're not dead, and it really comes down to price. Again, because what I said, except for a fraudulent situation, which really is hard, you don't really get too many fraudulent insurance companies out there, right?
Yeah.
And it's easy to check out to see how long they've been in business. As long as they exist, then you just go with the dirt cheapest one. And the only thing that gets a little bit squirrely is, again, what if you're a smoker? Or what if you are a cancer survivor? Then, the one company that gave you the cheapest quote, if you're in perfect health, might not give you the best quote for if you have health issues. So that's why, again, if people were to just call our 888-912-1190 number, and you can do that when you answer the trivia question too, it's fine. We'll just run the numbers for them.
So what kind of, do they still send a doctor to your house? What kind of qualifications do you have to
exactly.
do for examination?
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up. You almost never want to go with a company where they say, oh, no exam necessary.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
Yeah, and the reason that what happens is you get thrown into a big pool with people who are unhealthy. So the only people who should do that are people who are uninsurable effectively. They're going to die in 6 months, and it's like, no exam necessary. Okay, sign me up.
So typically, that's going to be a higher premium policy.
Absolutely, yeah. Now there are contestable periods like within 2 years. So if you said gee, I don't have cancer, and then you buy a policy and 6 months later you die of cancer, they're not going to pay.
Well, I know that when I got my term policy a few years ago, they sent somebody out to the house, they drew my blood,
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
did blood
That's right.
pressure, they checked medical records and all that.
Yep.
And then after the exam was complete and they got the results back, that's when they gave me my premium quote.
Correct.
Because they
That's
rated
right.
me in a better category than they initially rated me just by filling out the questionnaire.
Absolutely. In fact,
really?
the problem I had was my dad died at age 53 of a
Right.
heart attack.
Yeah, mine
And
too.
Right, and
Yeah.
then that's one of the reasons you got rated is because the hereditary type thing. Now,
Yeah.
in my case, my dad smoked, didn't get any exercise, and bad diet and all that stuff. But I unfortunately don't get the benefit of going, hey, look at me, I'm healthy, and I have better habits. So again, it goes back to each company is going to value you differently, and you absolutely want to go with one who, yes, it's a hassle to have them draw your blood, but they don't take out pints of blood. I mean, they take
Right.
out. It's so innocuous. It's just.
Yeah, they do it at your house. It's not inconvenient.
It's very convenient
Yeah.
at home or office, whatever you want, and you fill out the questionnaire honestly. You tell them, ever had any broken bones? Okay, yeah, I broke my thumb, when I was 17. They're not gonna rate
Oh
you
no,
on that.
broken arm.
But if you lie on it, though, if you lie on an application, they can go after you. So it's really best to just put all your cards out on the table.
Or not pay. If you die, could they go look back and say, hey, you didn't tell us that he had chest pains?
And that's happened where someone had said he was a non-smoker, and it turned out that he was a smoker, and so the widow went to the insurance company. They said, well, we're not going to pay, and the widow said, well, why don't I just pay the difference between what the smoker rate and the